to be here. Quick, I'm just going to talk a little bit about why I run the offense, because I'm here for 6 hours of this, and maybe some of you heard me before, but today we're going to talk about Jet and Rocket. First of all, it's great to be back here. I coached in Jersey for 9 years, all right, before I went to Georgia 23 years ago, and there's some guys in the room that played against. So a couple things about football here. When I was here, you know, Georgia's got a big high, you know, a lot of Division I players. It's got a lot of recognition for good high school football. But I'm just telling you right now, the coaching here, when I coached here, was it good or better than anywhere I've been. I'm just telling you that right now. I coached at Scotts Plains High School in Scotts Plains, New Jersey. I played Union High School with Lou Rattino, Summit with Jim Benedict. Fred Stengel was there with, and those guys were as good as anybody. So I know the great football you guys play. I know it's a big wing T area. And Frank Glazier hired me out of college, and so I was with him for a long time. And when we went to New Jersey from Florida, you know, we played a wing T teams. First we played and we thought we had it all down. You know, we thought we had it all figured out, and so we played Linden High School, runs it really well, and they beat us 63 to like 10 or something. And then we played another wing T team, and they beat us by 30. Then we played Union High School with Lou Rattino, and you know, if they had 3 digits on the clock, they could have put it up there, because we didn't have a clue. So I said, I better run this stuff. So we went down to Delaware like everybody did with Kempski, Greg Perry, and Ted Kempski, and I got to know Danny Crehan really well. So I got a real hard wing T background, and then I got because I was with the Glazier Clinics, I wanted to go to Atlanta, because you know, in Georgia, football means a lot, and it just didn't mean as much. And in some of these other places, not to the coaches, but to the people. I mean, they empty the place. I mean, we have 3,000 season ticket holders. When I played, we played in the state semifinal. We played in the Georgia Dome in 2000. We had 51,000 people. So they really means a lot there. So it was fun. It was different. So anyway, went there, and they're pretty good coaches there too. And there's a lot of wing T there. So it didn't start. The base wing T stuff just wasn't working that well anymore. All right. So the first thing I did is I put a extended motion across the formation through a bunch route, and we were averaging about 14 to 15 points a game, where we were doing really good here. As soon as I put that thing across the formation, we averaged 41 points a game. They couldn't stop it. The next year I put the whole offense under jet. We put the jet sweep in, and we've been going there ever since. So today, mostly what I'm going to talk about is Jet and Rocket and what it does, what the hybrid wing T can do for you, all right, or, you know, and I'm going to talk about under center, end gun, and in pistol, okay? So hope it makes sense to you. It's going to be kind of back and forth, but there's a lot of people in here still under center, a lot of people that want to do some gun stuff, there's a lot of people that like the pistol, and you can kind of marry them if you can figure out how, you know, which way you want to go with it, all right? Now, also you can, with this, if you're in the gun, well, let's just go first. The first thing we're going to do is, what does Jet and Rocket do to the defense? All right. So first of all, with Jet and Rocket, you know, we want to run it basically because it's going to stretch the field. All right. You're going to get your player in space. You're going to be able to get him wide. All right. The next thing is you can use with your formations. You can either use wide formations. You can bunch them down. So you can use multiple looks. So you can either compress your formations and run to space, or you can get in space and run to space. All right, it gets your best players in space, just like spread team would do. And the biggest thing is what Tony DeMeo used to tell me about when he ran the option was, when you're running Jet and Rocket, you're making tacklers run, those down linemen that want to tackle, and you're making cover guys tackle. All right, you're making those perimeter guys tackle. You know, the down guys don't want to run, and those perimeter guys don't want to tackle. So that's kind of what you're doing for them. All right, now, what's it do? It destroys run fits. So basically, what you're doing with the Jet and Rocket, it's, you know, you're going sideline to sideline with it. And so what it does, it destroys these run fits. Now, most defenses, they're gap controlled. So what they want to do is they want to run downhill and fit. Well, if you're running from sideline to sideline, that's really hard to do. So you want and if you look at our film with our Jet and Rocket, you're going to see guys running like this. So as soon as you get them going lateral from sideline to sideline, now your counter game starts going. All right? Because I'm just going to tell you, in the wing T, at least for me, if you let them do it, they will play you 8-man front man, or they're going to play some sort of front. They're going to line up 6 yards from the line of scrimmage. They're going to bring pressure, all right? And if you don't back them up, and they're going to bring those linebackers downhill 1,000 miles an hour, and if you don't back them up, you're going to have a tough time. So what you want to do is you want to get these guys running, all right? You want to open gaps to make the run play a little better. Now in the jet and rocket, all right, we want to do this. We want to be able to go under center, in gun, and pistol. Now I said some people are like, I work with Dwayne Alexander now. He's from Cumberland University, and he put most of our offense in. And so I work with him quite a bit, and he just goes gun and pistol. He doesn't know nothing under center, all right? But I like being under center. I think that when you go under center, when you're in gun and you're in pistol, that what it does is shows the defense 3 different formations, basically. You got a different look. They create different problems. So I like to do all those things. In rocket, we do the same thing. We can be under center, in gun, and in pistol, all right? Rocket and jet, to me, are basically the same play. And we're going to talk about how it's the same play, how we practice it like it's the same play, how you can drill it like it's the same play. All right, what are the advantages of gun and pistol? When you're in gun and you're in pistol, if you haven't done it, it's easier to throw the ball. You can back up, you can see the field, all right, and you can throw the football a little more. All right, a couple things with, you know, a lot of guys have gone to the spread, they've left the wing tee or whatever. You really didn't have to do that because you can do all the same things in the gun. All right, and when you're in the gun, you know, I talked to a lot of wing T guys, and they left it, and you couldn't get them to throw the ball. If you don't, usually when you have a problem in the wing T, when a defense is putting some pressure on you, usually the next run play ain't going to make it for you. Usually the passing game is what's going to cause them conflict. So basically you want to have passing concepts to back them up with jet and rocket to get them running from sideline to sideline. All right, the other thing is, enhances the passing game, quarterbacks away from the line of scrimmage. All right, it's screen game's easily enhanced. And if you wish, you can add all these, a lot of these spread concepts in there. You can run the inside zone if you want. You can run the stretch. All right, you can run the zone read. You can run the jet read. You can all those power read plays. You can do that if you're in the gun. So it gives you a little more versatility. All right, now alignments. I'm gonna go over the alignments. Pistol. All right, first, when you're under center, all right, you run all your wing T plays. When you're in pistol, all it is in pistol is we just back up like 2.5 steps to 3.5 yards, and you can basically run everything that you run under center in pistol if you want. All right, so pistol, when we're in pistol, our quarterback's at 3.5 yards, our running back's heels are at 5.5. All right, so that would be our alignment. It's easy to run the base weak team plays. When we're in pistol, we run rocket more than we run jet, although I guess you can run jet, we just don't do much of it. In gun, our quarterback's heels are at 4 yards. Dwayne likes them at 3.5. I like it a little deeper than that. All right, our fullback's toes are Dwayne likes to offset them exactly to the feet of the quarterback. I like to have my toes at least on the heels of the fullback. I'll go through that, and it's going to be and that's how we're going to line up like that. Jet, real quick. Jet, fast play to the flank. We like to say we don't have to block. All we got to do is get in the way. We're going to kind of go over the techniques of the running back, and those people are the blocking schemes that we have on the edge. You can run it from empty formations, and you can check it every time. So usually I give our quarterback the latitude that he can check any jet and rocket play he wants. So, and you know, usually when you come up over the line of scrimmage, the quarterback can see if there's an overload. He doesn't really have to see a whole lot. He can overload and check it to the other way as quick as possible. All right, now, if we're under center, I'm going to go quick under center because I'm sure, you know, I don't know what we have in here and how many people run under center and gun. But when we're under center, okay, quickly, our quarterback, we're going to put our jet back in motion, and usually we just use a heel when we're under center, and our jet back is going to run as fast as he can. So the back that's running the ball is going to go 100%, not 90, not 85. He's going to go fast as he can go. We will snap the ball on the outside foot of the offensive tackle. Okay, our quarterback will pivot if we're going to the right off our inside foot, and he's going to get his back to the defense with a ball into his belly button, and we're going to hand the ball off on the inside foot of the backside guard. Now, quickly, we have our wings, and I know this is not what most wing teams do, to 1-and-1. And we've got Dwayne to do that at Cumberland University, a Division II team, and it made all the difference in the world. And the reason that we like one by one alignments with our slots, and we have it with our slots like this. So we have our inside foot up, our other foot is, we put our inside foot in the seam of our outside foot, so it's like this, and we're always pointing straight ahead. If you turn those guys in, every time you pass the ball, you got to go like that. I know that when I'm playing a wing T team that has those turned in, those cocked in wings, when they throw the ball, I do this and everybody else pass. We can read that like that. You got to make sure you can't read your movements, okay? So when we put him in motion, he's going to go as quick and as fast as possible. We have these 1-by-1 splits because when you're 1-by-1, especially when you're on the split inside, a lot of teams like to put those edge guys down where they have those 45-degree ends, or they like to widen them out. When you go 1-by-1, I guarantee every single time that defensive end is going to square up. And he's going to get a 3 technique on your tackle, and you're not going to have any penetration through there. The other thing is when you're 1-by-1, all right, your motion's faster and quicker. It's harder for them to rotate quick. Another thing when they're 1-by-1, when you throw the ball, they can't walk up and put their hands on you. They can't, because I know one thing. I know when I'm defending the wing T, if you're 3-by-3, and you don't back me off, I'm going to walk my backer up and I'm going to kick the shit out of that little wing back. Because did your wing backs like to block? Mine hate it. They're that big. Little fast guys, they just get in the way. If you go up and jack them and set the edge, you're not running any jet. So you're going to have to, my next talk is about bunch routes, and bunch routes get people off your wings. But if you allow them to work your wing and put their hands on them, set the edge like a DN, you're not running that play. You might as well not even put it in there. So that helps that. All right, now when he runs that, the fullback's on the midline. All right, he has the midline. He's slightly off the midline. This guy's going to run as quick as we can. We're going to pull the front side guard, and I'm just talking quickly now. And when we pull him, and that guard and that running back is running, we like to put our hand. Coach, come on up for a second. If the guard pulls like this on jet under center, I'm going to put my hand on his hip. That naturally bubbles me outside. So I'm going to be about 3.5 yards off the line of scrimmage. The reason we do that is because when you get the edge and the edge blocker comes, okay, if you're behind him and he puts him on the ground, you fall straight down. You can't cut up. You can move left and right when you bubble them out. Okay, so it's important that thank you, Coach. Important that we put our hand on the side on his hand. All right, our hand on his hip. All right, quickly in a nutshell, that's kind of quickly just a little synopsis of the jet sweep under center. Now. Next thing is I put this thing up here, is we're going to run him as quick as possible. We're going to reverse out. We're going to hand the ball off the back side of his hip. He's going to turn it and receive it in the front side of the front side guard's hip. I put this 3-3 stack in because all those guys are up in the line of scrimmage trying to blow the gap. Because everybody, I work with a lot of teams and they say they're penetrating. They're getting upfield. They're beating me on my jet. I've never had a jet caught. All right, the reason is, and I'll go through it in a minute, is your line isn't deep enough. If you get penetration threat with a jet sweep and he catches your jet back, it's either your jet back is jogging or not running fast enough, you didn't hand it off at the right spot, or your line was not deep enough. And I'm going to go over what your line's going to be. All right, so we're going to pull. He's going to try to find it right there. He's got his hand on his hip. He's going to read the edge, and we're going to go over how he does that. It's a great play under center. Okay, in gun. Fullback's toes for us are at 4, 4.5. So usually, if this is the quarterback right here, I want to put my fullback's going to have his toes right on his heels. All right, so we can run some inside zone. We might even put it back. Dwayne likes to put them straight up like this. I don't like to do that, but he does. If you want to do that, quarterback's heels at 4. The snap point in gun. When we snap the ball in gun, it's going to be on the outside foot of the tackle. All right, so when the halfback goes in motion, we're going to snap it when he gets to the outside foot of the tackle, not the guard. And it'll time up really well. Quarterback's technique, when you're in gun, you have to take 2 shuffle steps toward the jet back. So when he receives it, it's 2 shuffles like this as you hand it off. You're going to ride him. Now, when the halfback comes in gun and he's going full speed and he gets to the outside foot of the offensive tackle, he runs over the ball and he takes it. Because if you don't, you're going to get an exchange problem. because you're going to shuffle and you have to hold it. Now, you can just stay there and give it right away if that's all you're going to run. But if you want to put in power read and pull it and read the DN and run zone and do all that stuff, you got to take shuffle steps and you got to ride that guy a little bit. And so that quarterback holds on to the ball and lets him take it. So when you run the power read later down the road, all right, you can pull it out of there. All right, sort of like an option play. All right, now, whoops. Okay, so that's the quarterback's technique of the shuffle. So we're going to line up here. We're going to snap the ball right there on the outside foot of the tackle. Now, we use the word flex, all right, a lot of times to widen the slots. So we're going to make these slots, we're going to have them one by one. We're going to have, if I say flex them, we're going to put them between 4 and 6 yards. Now what he does when we do that is when we flex that slot out there, it's because you ever get those force players, like if he drops down, he just comes off the edge and tries to box you. If he does that, flex your end out, I mean your wing out. And we tell him you can go as far as you can until you have an angle on the force player, or you bring him so far out it doesn't matter, you just turn him out and you can come back up inside. So make different alignments with your slots to help you. Now, if we're one by one, okay, we have our feet, I said, like this with our slot. We put our foot in here like this, so our instep and our toe is kind of fitted in, and we just stagger it like this. When I'm in a tight slot, if I have to step, so boom, when I step, I make it like a T. So I have depth, so I can run right through the quarterback's hands. What happens when you just let him go like this and step, on rocket and jet, he starts going at like a 45-degree angle. He's going like this freaking crap, all right? You want him to run straight. He's got to get horizontally in a straight line, just like this through it. Now, when you flex him and bring him out here, put your inside foot up and deepen him so he just runs right over that fullback's hands. What difference does it make? You know, you can block from here or whatever. So as soon as we get from one by one, we get into a sprinter stance, we run right across his feet. Quarterback takes 2 shuffles. All right, when you're in gun, the fullback must take 3 vertical steps and then wrap. And we'll talk about how we're going to block on that. But the fullback, we always want him to go 1, 2, 3 vertical before he goes up the field. Really important, because if you go downhill, you are not going to be able to make the multiple blocks on the edge that you're going to have to do. Because we want to block the edge 5 different ways. If you're blocking the edge one way, you're going to have problems with the jet and the rocket, I believe. We block it 5 different ways to give them 5 different looks. Why do we do that? Because when we throw the ball, they don't know if we're running jet, they're getting cracked stock, they're getting pushed cracked. It's a pass, it's a bunch, it's a vertical play. So you got them standing still instead of running downhill and moving. All right, now, in the gun, okay, we're one by one here, okay? He's flexed. So he's got his inside foot up, he's going to run right through his hands, okay? He's going to arc and block number 2, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But as we go here, and he's running, okay, that's what we want. All right, if he goes downhill, he's done. He run over the edge, now they're playing like one backer. All right, so there's the fullback running 3 vertical steps. He's running out here to take it, he's going to take 2 shuffles. He's snapping the ball. Right there, over the outside foot of the tackle, he runs over it. He should be, and there's the edge, and I'm going to kind of go over all our blocking. I'm just kind of going through it real quick right now. I'm going to go to the real nitty-ditty details of each thing, all right? Rocket. Advantage with rocket is we don't have to block the 5 technique. Fullback goes away. Hopefully when he goes away, he holds the backer. We get to the second level quicker, I believe. The split flow makes it waggle friendly, all right? And it's also good in the bunch. All right, under center, what we're going to do is we do not block the 5 technique. We're going to rip outside and block backer to free. So you don't have to block the 5 technique. Okay, you can pull the guard or not pull the guard. If you zone them, you just take a zone step and you go up for the backer, or you pull and eye the front side backer. All right, don't put them out here on the edge. When we pull the guard on jet and rocket, most of the time, if it's the split inside and rocket, we're looking for this guy here. He wants to rip underneath this man. Everybody else is up to the second level. Right now, in rocket, really important. we want the fullback at 3.5 yards. If you put the fullback at 4 yards or 4.5 yards, and if you don't T-step this guy right here, this wing, it's gonna look like this. You're gonna catch the ball right there over the tackle. It's gonna be 5.5 yards deep, and you're gonna get no yards. All right? We move the fullback up. You can't tell. We move him up to 3.5, like it's almost like a bone look. All right? We put this T motion where we take the back's foot, tee it, and run straight through the fullback's heels. All right? As fast as we can go. Okay? We want to catch the ball past where the ghost tight end would be. And if it's at 3.5 yards, remember we said in the jet, we got the jet, we put our hand on them to bubble out, and that's exactly where the rocket's caught. It's the same spot, all right? Only it's wider. Only it's wider now. So going as quick as we can. All right, now the quarterback, he's gonna reverse out, and usually what we do when we're in rocket is we just kick the heel out like this to get turned, toss it, take 2 steps, and then boot. Okay, so we can just get our hips open. All right, now, in rocket, here, he's a little too deep, we wanna run vertical. Now this guy here wants to rip and not block the 5 technique. So he's gonna rip his arm through, and he's gonna read backer to safety. Now a lot of times they lock onto you. If they lock onto you, let them lock onto you. You got them blocked anyway, and you're still fighting with this outside hand like this, trying to get to the second level guy. All right? He may or may not pull. If you think there's a penetration threat, don't pull, but everybody's gonna go to the second level. So now, when we run rocket, under center, we give him a heel, and he goes in short motion. We don't snap the ball until we can't see it anymore. All right, so when you lose peripheral vision, all right, the quarterback does, from the rocket back, that's when it's snapped. So I pick it up here, I don't see him, I go, set, go, and we snap the ball in the S of the set, click the heel turn, toss it, hopefully it'll be out pretty wide. Okay, and this is where this guy here, he wants to bypass the 5 technique. So when he's gonna rip it, try to bypass him, he's kind of staying on, he's not staying on him, he's just trying to get through him. All right, now, this is a little team, 2A team, that I work with in Washington, and see this, and I put this in here because he's not taking the T-step, so see him go deep, see the depth he's getting? So now he's too deep, he should be right there catching it, even though they get a good block and they're out on the edge. Okay, now pistol. Pistol, all that is stepping back. So now your quarterback's where the fullback was, 3.5 yards. Your tailback is at 5.5 yards. All right, now you're gonna run flat, only gonna go between the fullback and the quarterback and the fullback for the rocket. Okay, you're gonna snap it the same way. When you lose peripheral vision, you're gonna snap it. That means he'll be right behind your back. You're gonna toss it out there, all right? Now, when you toss it when you're in pistol or in gun, when you're in pistol or in gun, the quarterback has to take a drop step forward. He's gonna step forward to get his hips open. If you just try to turn like this, you can't get turned, all right? So we step forward like this to get the hips open so he can turn and get it out there. So your quarterback will drop here, kick his heel out to get his hips turned, and then toss the ball, okay? So, we're here, we're gonna put in motion, we're gonna run him right between, and we wanna get as flat and as wide as we can. All right, we're gonna zone this up, we're gonna try to bypass him, and it's gonna look like this. All right, this is Dwayne's team. Okay, he's gonna go in motion. All right, there's where the ball snapped. When the peripheral vision is gone and he's caught it, he's pretty much right behind him, so you kind of got like 3 guys in a line when he gets the ball. He's gonna drop step to get his shoulders turned. The end man line scrimmage is trying to bypass this guy. And he's locking onto him, so if he locks on, stay on. All right, it's tossed, and that's where it's caught. It's caught outside the hash. Okay, so the ball's caught outside the hash. That is now wider than where the ghost tight end would be. All right, wider than where the ghost tight end would be. So there's the toss. Get a little seam. Pretty good. All right, now. Okay. Here, sometimes we call X, and I'll go over that in a minute, but if the end man of the line of scrimmage for you is ever, well, this is what happens to us in both jet and rocket, and I'm going to go over this before, the defensive end will read the feet of your offensive tackle, okay? So if I'm going to step out to reach block him, he runs. If I go down, they say, oh, it's down or some sort of inside play, they close. So when we see that happening, all we do is we just call X, so the guard and the tackle will block down on the backer, and the guard will pull around the D end, all right, and take a perimeter player, and you don't block the end at all. And because it's tossed so wide, all right, you basically almost like read him without reading him. So here, that's what he's going to do. So he puts him in motion. He blocks down, and he gets him to move just a little bit so he can get outside. All right, now, gun rocket. You can run the rocket out of the gun. It's kind of cool because I just talked to Coach Mazzoni last week, and I said, and he does a lot of that deep motion. I said, yeah, I'll put this freaking rocket play in. He goes out of the gun, and he put it in after he looked at it. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. All right, in the gun, we're going to line our fullback up in the gun, jet or rocket, behind. We're going to go foot to foot with an offensive tackle. Now, you might have to go in a little bit if you're going to run inside zone and everything, but remember, for us, we run inside zone, we run zone read, we run stretch, but we don't have to run it as good as those spread guys do all this other shit, all right? So you don't have to be all that great with it, all right? So we're going to line it up here. If you have a 1-by-1 slot, you got a pretty good little overhang here to block on. So what we're going to do is we're going to put him in motion, and he has got to run through the quarterback's just 1 foot deeper than the quarterback. All right, you want as tight as you can without hitting him. All right. Now the quarterback is he's gonna be a little deeper in the gun. Well, when we're doing rocket, he's gonna be 3.5. So I'm wrong. It's gonna be the same as a pistol. And only anything different on the pistol is now the pistol back is offset, and now you're doing the same thing. All right. And you could pull or not pull the guard. All right. When you lose vision, you're gonna snap the ball. So it's gonna look like this in gun. He's gonna be offset. Foot behind him. Now Dwayne has his guys foot to foot because he's running these jets and rockets no matter what happens. I like to get him back a little bit because I want to run a little bit of zone, inside zone and zone read. All right. So either way that you want to do it. All right. He's got him flexed, so he flexes them out so he can get an angle on the force player. So he goes behind. He turns and tosses it. Probably not as wide as it should be. He gets his hands on the fullback. Now we're going to go over how we're going to do the blocking now. All right, real quick, line splits. For us, line splits are 2-foot splits, just like the old days, just like regular wing T stuff. All right? The big thing, though, is our distance off the ball. The distance off the ball is critical, and I'm talking about this for years. We want to be illegally off the ball. All right? And if you don't get caught, it's not illegal, correct? All right? So we're illegal no matter what, and I tell the kids they could tell you to move up. So what we do is basically your helmet's supposed to break the plane of the numbers. All right, so we put our hand down. We put our hand down right on the heel of the offensive of the center. So when I put my heel down on the offensive center, my head is like almost on his butt. Well, I just played last year. I played 7 games without them moving. All right, now why do you do that? When you're off the ball like that, for example, you have Coach. You want to get up here real quick? Here's the center. All right, the center's here. Coach is a D tackle. If you get back as a D tackle, and you're gonna put like if you're here, you're just gonna get on a defensive stance real quick, so you're not offside. So his hand's up there, and if I'm here, you see how far away we are? So they have to vertically come upfield to stop you. So if they're doing that, and you're running sideline to sideline, they're gonna have a pretty tough time doing that. If you're tight to the line of scrimmage, thank you, Coach. He can make that penetration charge. We also tell them if they throw a flag or if they warn us to go up and put your hand on the instep. And if you put your hand on the toe, you're perfectly legal. But we've never had to go further than go in the instep. We want to be back as far as we can. All right, we want to be back as far as we can. All right, so distance off the ball as far as we can to get them as far as they can get so they can't have any kind of penetration. All right, now, numbering the formation. Now, it's kind of basic, but you know, I worked 12 camps last year, and me and Dwayne go to different schools, and we put in the offense, and and we worked, and every single school said, oh, we don't need to do the numbering, and every single one of them was screwed up the perimeter blocking. Every one. They said, oh, because they go caveman in a game, all right? They think they got it in practice, they think they know what they're doing, and the next thing, one guy moves and they're blocking who knows who. So we want to make sure they know who it is. So our end man line of scrimmage was tight end or tackle, offensive tackle. The end man, he's going to count this guy as number 1. Wing Delaware used to count that guy as 3. I never really kind of stood because we don't really care what these guys are. All right, so I count him as 1, 2, and 3. So the first guy, we put a line down through the inside foot of the end man line of scrimmage. And the next man on or off the line of scrimmage is number 2, and that's who the wing has to block. The end man line of scrimmage has to block 1, the halfbacks have to block 2, and then the next, and the split end has got 3 if we don't call any change in the blocking scheme. So they have to know that. Then we safeties 4, and then we count these backers as 5. So if the backers line up wider, you may want to count them into the count. All right, but basically in a 4-4, that's how we would count that. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. If we're in this, it's another 4-4. All right. If we're in, and we're just going to line them up like this. If this guy, usually, if he's going to line up there, we may put him in the count, and we'll come down and block him. All right. Now, this is what you see a lot of times if you don't push people back. You're going to see people crowding your formation. And we're going to talk about ways to get them off you. All right, 4-3 here, usually in a 4-3, if this guy here starts to get into this on our defensive end, we usually call him there. We count him 2, and we're going to load him up by game plan. Or we'll say, okay, we're not going to do that. He's going to have to be outside him. But if he lines up like this, we're going to probably count him as 2, him as 3, and the other guy as 4. But you have to have a communication system so that your wings, your split ends, and your tight end know what they're going to do. If it's a 3-4 defense, we know these stand-up ends are 1. Next man outside will be 2. Corners 3, and then the backers are 5. All right, 3-3 is the big one. Is when you get 3-3, they don't line up on a tight end. So when they don't line up on a tight end, if we have nobody on the tight end, we're going to count the stack backer as number 1. Next man out's 2. Then there's 3. Same thing over here. All right, if the stack backer stays inside, we'll either count him as 2 and him as 3, or we'll say, okay, on the split inside, by game plan, we'll count head up and we'll pull this guard and let him wrap there. So but at least you have a communication system about how you're going to talk with them, especially when you start changing the blocking schemes around. Here's the 3-3. There's a stack backer, nobody on the tight end. We count him as 1, 2, and 3. So if you got a 3-3, that's how we count it. All right, the communication, the tight end or the in-man line of scrimmage always comes up, and he identifies number 1. I don't care what play it is. He goes, I got 24. He just says who he's got, and then we go from there. All right, now, reaching the in-man line of scrimmage. Okay, last thing. If you're going to run jet and rocket and you're going to block it regular, all right, you're just going to block the in-man line of scrimmage. We have changed the way that we block the edge. Okay. We used to block the edge, when I talked to a lot of, like Bobby Wiley was here, is a good friend of mine. I talked to him about how to reach block and talked to those guys about different stuff. Used to reach block by picking our foot up and putting it down, crossing over to the crotch, and then blocking and trying to and we just say we just want a stalemate. If we can get a stalemate on the defensive end and we just ride them to the sideline, we got the play. All right? But they were beating us because they're reading our feet a lot of times. And they'd line up a little wider and we couldn't get there. And every time I went like this, what happened? Flag. Freaking flag. And whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter, because there's an 80-yard run coming back and there's nothing you can do about it. So we went to this ripping it, this technique where we are going to drop step as deep as the defensive end is wide. All right, so if and we are going to take our inside arm and we're going to take it and rip it through his inside, we're going to rip it through his inside armpit. So when I go to reach, I rip this thing through his inside armpit no matter what he's doing, and I am not going to try to block him. I'm going to work my outside hand and I'm going to lean in like this. If he comes out and I get a stalemate, then it's like this, then I'm getting a stalemate, but I'm not holding him. And I get no calls on that. And this is how we drill it. Okay, this is how we drill it. Whoops. We can either have a tight 3, you know, he's tight on us, he's either wide or he's inside us. And so we're going to block it in this way. Okay, if he's tight, we're going to rip that backside arm. We're going to take a slight drop step, or we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're just going to take a 6-inch step. I'm going to take my inside arm, I'm going to rip it through his, whoops. I'm going to whip it through and I'm going to drive that hand as hard as I can. Okay, that's the wide one. I must have hit this thing about 10 times. Okay, here's a tight one. Not so wide, we're going to drive that inside arm, and when we're driving it, we're going to lean it in. You will not get a holding call doing that. All right, you will not get a holding call doing that. Now, if he goes wide, we're going to drop step as wide as he is. So if he's really wide out there, I'm going to drop, and I'm going to basically run till I get to his outside armpit, and I'm going to rip through. So as wide, you know, I tell him drop as much as you got to do to get yourself out there, because you got to block that man. All right. So here, when it's wide, there's the drop right there. He's eyeing up that backside armpit. He's ripping it through. We want to get that run. Now sometimes he's going to stalemate. We're going to run him right to the sideline, but at least you don't get a holding call when you do it. All right, now if we get inside alignment, we're going to use flipper technique. And we're going to use it by just flipping it, because this is what happens. We get that inside shade 4-4, and they pinch. They can pinch and get vertically upfield, and they got you beat. They can make the play on the jet there. And what our guy does, he's going to reach, and the guy's going inside, and he's, you know, boom, he's got nothing. All right. So what I want to do is I want to pick my inside foot up, my outside foot up, and put it down. All right, and start to throw the flipper by stepping with the inside part of my foot. If he slants, then I can just down block him. If not, I'm going to use the flipper the same way, fight that outside arm, and I'm going to punch it. And you know, we use hands. That's a whole other talk. We've gone to a little more hands than we do shoulders. I know it's like heresy, but we're driving just like that. Because what happens when you hit and you duck, you got more power than if you're shoulder blocking and you're out here and you're bent at the waist. So when we hit with this flipper like this, bang, we're ducking and we're climbing and we're punching this foot, and if he goes across our face, we got our hands on him. So we got power. All right, so if we get that inside shade, bang, he's ducking, and he's working that thing as hard as he can. If I had the sound on, you could hear the flipper pop. So he's popping the flipper, and he's rising, so you can't see. All right, so that's how we're going to drill the inside part. Now, when we drill the duck, all right, you can do it a bunch of ways. We just put it on the sled, you know, and we just try to get balance, and we're working that inside shade, just like that. Okay, now, multiple blocking schemes. All right, we want to block multiply on the edge. All right, because if you only block one way, defense can read it. Okay, so as soon as you take any other kind of step, they can figure out what your plays are by that. If you block multiply on the edge, they don't know whether it's a pass, a run, or whatever. You're getting cracked, you're getting stalked, you got different guys blocked all the time. It aids in everything that you do. All right, quickly. All right, before we go to that, the A backs block and the B block. Our left half backs are A back, and our right half backs are B back. And when you block the jet, all right, John, when you block the jet, all right, we used to kind of just attack him. We say, okay, we're going to get to his outside shoulder, we're going to attack, we're going to try to, we first start off doing a flipper, and then we started going like this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to attack his outside shoulder, all right, and when you attack his outside shoulder in an arc, you be the back coach, I'll be the defender. John coached my running back, so he actually knows it better than I do. All right, we're going to take a lateral step, and so if I'm a defender, all right, when he takes that lateral step, I'm going to go in this way, and he keeps running until I come up, and then he's going to set the edge here. All right, so what you want to do, coach, you're right here. So what you want to do, when I drop, I'm going to run like toward his outside shoulder. So if I'm running, is it a pass? Is it a block? And as soon as he attacks me, I attack him. And then I try to set the edge here. Now you got to be careful with the hands. all right? Because that's where you get the flags the most, okay? Right? And so you got to watch extending them. You want to lock them and keep them bent. So you got to keep working to keep them bent, because this is what happens. As soon as I lock with the wing back with my hands and I do this, I don't know, yeah. So we try to keep them in and just get that stalemate and keep working as outside shoulder. All right, we've been thinking about ripping, but they can go all over the place on a rip. So we're just trying to lock them and keep our elbows in. All right, now, okay, open inside. We're gonna block just like we said. Here's one, here's two, here's three. All right, he's gonna laterally get out here and attack his outside shoulder. Fullback, remember, it takes 3 vertical steps. He wraps backer to safety. We're going to stalk the defender. That's if we say nothing. That's just our regular blocking scheme, open inside.
Coach, you always go with the guard and the gun?
Not always. We tell our guards, all right, first of all, good question, we game plan it. If there's a penetration threat and if you've got a 3 technique, he can make the play on the jet. I'm just telling you right now. He can do it. Under center, he can't. Under center, we tell our tackles, anybody covers you, block them. I don't care what it is. If somebody covers you up, offensive tackle under center, you block them. Same thing with a gun. But if he's on your guard, sometimes he can be a penetration threat. We'll just zone it up. We'll just zone it up. But if we can pull him, we're going to pull him. If he gets to 1 technique, we pull. Some people might not want to because they're just playing jet and rocket and they're kind of a spread team. They don't want to pull the guard. Hey, our guards, you know, I like to pull my guards because my guards suck. All right, my guards are this. I don't have like those big guys, you know, like these teams. I don't know where these guys get them at like 250, 260, 280, you know, right across the front. You know, I have a couple of those guys, but usually the reason I run the offense is I can't get that many offensive linemen, so I take, you're kidding. All right, you know junior ball? You go down to your junior high school team. We have 7th, 8th grade team. And you look out there, and as you run the wing tee under center, you know, and they got this guy that gets the ball, and he's bigger than everybody. He's got muscles coming out of his head and his ears and everything. He's got a beard. You know, he's in the 8th grade, you know, and they're dragging him like this. When he's a sophomore for you, he's a guard. All right? He ain't running away from nobody. All right? So that guy plays guard for me. Linebacker dude that you know, in the weight room is lifting the house and is mean, but he's kind of not, he can't get on a field. That guy plays guard. And you know, they're mean, they're tough. And when I talk to them, I just say, dude, you're either going to play guard or you don't play. I mean, so those are our guys. So we want them out there, okay? So if I can wrap them, I can. If I can wrap them, I can. Okay, I don't know if that answered. Next thing, crack stalk. Crack stalk is this. All right, that's the end man line of scrimmage. Okay, when we say crack stalk, then 2 and 3 are exchanging blocks. So X is going to crack and he's going to stalk. Okay, to us that looks like vertical wheel. We start running verticals if they try to beat that crack. All right, so that's crack stalk right there. All right, fullback takes 3 vertical steps, comes up the field. Okay. Most of the time we do. We'll get to that. You know, if we're going to crack, I'm going to bring it down so I'm going to bring him to the width that he can crack him. A lot of times I just go loose split and I bring him down to tight. I bring him foot to real tight split and you'll see it on the film. Okay. So for example, here we go. Here's crack stalk. Just like you said, Coach. For us, this is loose split. All right. I bring him down like that, and I like this formation here because against 4-3 stack teams. A lot of times when I get in this formation, they take their stack backers and put them on the wings. As soon as I do that, I'm running jet crack stalk, rocket crack stalk, XB to the 1 technique. If the inside backer tackles the XB, I run Sally. All right, and then I'm running bunch routes off it. All right, that's my series right there. And so here he's got him angled, bang. He's got him right there. There's the guard pulling. Okay, and a lot of times if you do a tight split, you can run into the boundary. Okay, here's Dwayne's team running it. CS, he does the same thing. Tightens them down, gets an angle on the force player. There's the motion. Now it's in gun. He takes 2 vertical steps. He's cracking.